Hello, bonjour, namaste. This is your host Simran Singh from AnyTechTrial.com. Welcome to this episode of Notable Talks by AnyTechTrial.com, world's largest software marketplace, where you can plan your full digital transformation roadmap by exploring, comparing, and trying out softwares for free for all of your business and personal needs. Today, in the conversation, we have with us Mr. Ajay Sharma, Chairman and Managing Director of Abhinav Immigration. Welcome to Notable Talks, Mr. Sharma.
It's my pleasure, Simran, and I went through your wonderful site and the job that all of you are doing, and it's a fantastic job. Keep it up,
Thanks a lot for being with us in this session. Let's get started with the questions.
please.
Alongside the global shift of hybrid workplace and you being a founder of an immigration and visa consultant company that includes duties of handling an individual's personal information would make data protection one of the top priorities considering your line of business. How do you tackle this issue and what are the key steps you take to ensure the highest standard of data security for your customers as well as your proprietary data sets in this hybrid work model?
Well, to start with, I think there are two or three different components to your question. The first is the agreement part itself, because when we sign the agreement with the client, that itself has a privacy clause. So we have to ensure that the client and in between the different internal and external stakeholders, the privacy is respected. That's one. Second is this, I think privacy is important whether we are working in hybrid or a non-hybrid space. It's, I think, it's very relevant at all times. And to ensure that, while earlier, in the earlier days, though it still continues to be in some ways, the paper-based exchange cannot be avoided. But the fact that the technology has been driving the data a lot, so it becomes that much easier, also at times complicated, to control the privacy part of the component and ensure there's no leakage. So we, as a company, we've been having, client relation packages, the database management packages, which ensure that from beginning to end, the data moves through authorized personnel and between the client and the internal and external stakeholders. There is a certain format in which the data movement is happening of documents, otherwise information. So another way is that, when you work in the hybrid space, so you have combination of office and home environment space. So you try to ensure that the IP addresses which are used even at home have that required protection, to ensure the data safety. Overall, I would put it this way, that you can have best of the packages, but intent is the most important thing. And again, hybrid or no hybrid doesn't matter. But yes, I think we as a company and otherwise do have the systems in place to ensure that the clients or all other stakeholders have the required protection that's required.
As the founder of Abhinav Immigration for the past 27 years, you must have seen a lot of changes across your business ecosystem, such as digital transformation and automation. How do you look at digital transformation for your company? And what advice would you give to our audience for planning their roadmap to digital transformation?
Well, to start with, of course, when you look at from where we started, where all the applications used to be, in fact, we used to type it on the electronic typewriter, and then physical documents used to be attached and couriered mail. So from 1994, the transformation has been a constant ongoing process. Now, the way it is, whether it's the government agencies, or we internally, so it's mostly the electronic exchange that's happening in terms of the The digital transformation is complete, in fact, as complete as it can get, in majority of areas, right from booking an appointment for a visa interview, or otherwise, right from filling up the application form, the documents to be attached. Doesn't matter which country, almost all countries require and have systems in place for you know offering documents in a digital format. There are some applications, specific applications, specifically relates to investor programs, or business programs, which are still paper based. But I expect that even those areas will undergo a total transformation in coming 1 to 2 years. My advice to anybody who is still not, uh, you know, within the internal systems they have, is not using technology as the initiator. My advice would be that, because having in-house technology can be very expensive. So my advice would be that, depending on the size of your business, you may be best your interests, because first of all, there's no uh, choice to not being a digital compliant company or a business. There's no choice to that now. So considering that situation, the second option is what to do, because developing a technology, developing softwares, customizing it can requires a lot of effort and lot of thought process, a lot of roadmap that requires to be defined by the promoters or otherwise the team members. That takes lots and lots and lots of time. So my strong recommendation to anybody who's just getting into play as far as putting their operations on the digital platform would be to the maximum possible outsource it, or to use systems and applications and technologies which are readily available in the market. And all that is required to be done is, after that, simple customization, minor customization, to suit the specific requirements of the user. So that, in my opinion, is a much quicker and much even in terms of pricing and costing, a much more preferable, I would say, roadmap to digitally transform than trying to start from ground zero and try to develop a technology of your own. Yes, once your sizes are so huge that it's not, or the privacy is so important that you cannot, really speaking, outsource it. At that time it may be viable, but SMSEs and mid-sized corporates, I don't think that's an issue in outsourcing. That's much better.
Marketing automation is also another valued use of digital technology to connect and engage better with your customers. How do you see the future of marketing automation changing the customer's brand experience and engagement with your business and its impact on the ecosystem as a whole?
Well, as a company, for example, we are on all the, in terms of marketing, we are available on all the possible digital platforms, be it LinkedIn, be it Facebook, be it Instagram, or be it Twitter. So one cannot do without the other, and uh, there is no choice except to be totally, in terms of marketing automation. There's no choice, and I hope that I got your question right. There's no choice but to use the all available digital platforms for the purposes of your marketing exercise. There's no choice to that. And but again, marketing through digital platform is a two-sided sword, as I call it. So uh, the sheer because you don't have control over. You only have control over what you release. You don't have control over the reactions. So that's one huge disadvantage of the marketing automation. So only concerns that I have, and which take a lot of time, of the company that's involved in marketing automation, is how to really speaking address concerns which are uh, maybe not actually speaking genuine concerns, and which may actually speaking be impacting the company reputation. So it becomes at times challenging to really speaking address the other side of digital marketing, but there's no choice. So what you have to do is you need to have a team. When if you're into marketing automation, then you need to have a team. There's no choice to that, to control both sides, plan your digital marketing strategy, and also be able to supervise the follow-up actions once your campaign is out. So in terms of strategies, one of the areas that I think marketing strategy is finding a face. So for any brand, face of an internal stakeholder is very important. In case of our company, I think I become the face, and I have a lot of passion about it. But will as the companies grow bigger, finding that the face becomes, I think, a bigger challenge at times, because the external stakeholders or brand ambassadors may not have that knowledge that's required to really speaking effectively present what the message that you want to give. Otherwise, whether it's webinars, or whether it is Zoom sessions, or alternatively, we are using, for example, lots of interlinkages between three platforms: Insta, Facebook, and WhatsApp. So that there's a lot of activity that's happening between the three platforms. So that's being very effectively used, and a very significant change that I've seen is, in fact, it's a very interesting thing that of course, you can make broadcast groups between your existing clients and the prospect, and send one message to that group of 250, 265, whatever the number is, within a click. So that saves a lot of your time. So that's how we use it. But along with that, I think there's a lot of in terms of the initial stage, unless your content is of course always the king, but content always may not really speaking help, because especially for first couple of years, because content needs to go out, and you need to have good marketing budget for that, because each of these platforms, be it Facebooks, or Instas, or LinkedIn, so beyond a particular point, unless you don't invest, you don't get more views, you don't get more so you must have that marketing budget. Unless you don't have that marketing budget for the initial launch and carry on, it becomes often difficult. A very interesting development we have seen in last 6 months, and that is now becoming more effective, in my opinion, than a WhatsApp, is that earlier your SMS used to come as a simple worded SMS, a brand promotion message. But now the technology has so beautifully grown, is that when you get the SMS itself, that SMS itself is so beautifully designed with proper branding and direct click option to the message that you want to take, or wherever you want to drive the traffic to. So between I find a beautifully designed message received on SMS to be more receptive than a message received on WhatsApp. So that's a significant change that we have seen. As far as the clients are concerned, clients are, I have seen, more comfortable on. Surprisingly, Zoom is very popular, as we all know, but the clients are often more, and that they becomes a challenge, because almost somebody is using Microsoft Teams, and somebody is using Google, somebody is using Zoom, somebody is using WebEx. So it often becomes a challenge also in between different platforms. So learning is ensuring that you are acquainted to each technology of a digital interaction with the client in terms of marketing or selling or otherwise messaging. So that itself at times becomes a challenge, that you have all the applications downloaded and you are able to interact confidently in the right manner.
What tips would you like to give to recent immigrants or people who are planning to move overseas in the near future, in context to how they could leverage technology for a smoother transition into the new environment and also stay connected with their homeland?
Well, it's actually speaking, there are applications for everything now. So earlier there used to be a challenge that you need to have a post-landing package if you're going as a new immigrant. Somebody is there to pick you up at the airport, and you would arrange for some kind of a temporary accommodation and for 15 days to a month, and then somebody is taking you around for a tour and everything. Uh, but these days there are applications that are offered by respective governments as well as private agencies. So you can use any of those applications irrespective of the country that you're going to, and book your arrival comfortably and enjoy it the way you want it. So now the role of I would say intermediary in person is almost non-existent. The applications have taken over, and it's the majority of new immigrants use those applications to make their transition hassle free. And because that's been given mostly by I would say third parties, so in fact they end up getting better service. So normally, when one is going through simply blood relations or friends, it's not as friendly as it looks. But so third party providers end up providing much better service than otherwise. So applications is what is driving the plans of the new immigrants, not only in terms of landing, also in terms of getting jobs. So once they have a confirmed immigration process is being completed, so and they have their date of arrival, likely date of arrival in place. So they can immediately start approaching again using the technology. They can start using the approaching the employees through various this time applications are job applications, job sites. So again, you can start using those applications to ensure that you have a maximum reach to executive search agencies as well as to the employers, that because employers are normally comfortable offering you an interview only if they know that your intent to reside in the country immediately is clear. Because you'll be surprised, so many times it happens that people are in their comfort zones within their country of origin. So even after the visa comes in, they are not very in fact they are very hesitant at times to move out immediately, leaving their comfort zone within the country. So the same concern even the employers on the other side have, that okay, we interview this gentleman or lady, or whether they're actually going to be landing on this particular date or not, we don't know. So even the employers feel comfortable if with a clear arrival date, and otherwise the newly landing immigrant lets them know that he's now available or she's now available, and it takes forward from there. The applications again are the best ways, and I would put it this way: uh, the best way, in fact, is that of course, in India, the biggest platform is LinkedIn. So it makes sense to update your profile on regular basis. And the one most important advice that I'll give to, and we give to all our clients, is that the way we structure our resume in India is very different from the way resume and profiles are presented internationally. So it will make so much sense that before going, you again use technology to prepare professional profiles which meet the international standards.
With your seasoned knowledge of entrepreneurship, finance, and business ecosystem as a whole, what are the key things entrepreneurs should keep in mind when starting their business and hitting their business objectives at a global scale?
Well, let's first start with the fact that if you want to be an entrepreneur, really, you can be an entrepreneur at any age, any stage. So that's first thing that comes to my mind. Second thing is this, that the scale doesn't really matter. uh, you know uh, the most important thing is whether as an entrepreneur you could be a one-man company, a one-man show, a consultant, be self-employed, an entrepreneur, and be more satisfied than an entrepreneur who is having a company with 5,000 employees. So being an entrepreneur is a lot of state of mind. That's first submission that I have to make. Second submission I have to make is that whether on a smaller scale or a global scale, the the core skill that any successful entrepreneur needs is really speaking, learning the art of managing cash flow. So even when you want to go on a global scale, uh, that's why people often say that you don't need money really to grow once you have the idea. So but that's actually not true. You do still need money, but you need backup. But uh, uh, there is this particular stage in every business where you need to make a choice of scaling up your operations from one city to within the country, and then from within the country to global scales. So at every stage you are going to face a challenge of limited cash. So I think the art of managing cash is the most important, I would say, entrepreneurial skill at a global scale also. Second is, understanding that of course all the countries have their programs that welcome startups, that welcome entrepreneurs, that welcome investment from other countries. But the most important thing when you want to move on to global scale is your networks. I think that's the second key component of your key component that's so essential to scale up your operations. And that way the generation that Simran you belong to, or Abhishek belongs to, maybe you are one generation younger to Abhishek, but your generation is very lucky that you have access to social media. So creating and managing those networks becomes that much easier. So taking advantage of the current social media ecosystem that we have. You can really use it to expand your networks, having the right networks. And don't look at the age of the network. The person might be 65-year-old, you might be 25, but you have a right concept, the idea, right business, they will talk to you irrespective. So creating that network, and networks are not created overnight. So it's a very painful process of reaching out to people, trying to make connections, and after making connection, reaching out to them with the message, having those networks, creating those networks, and after making those networks, maintaining those networks to pursue your business goals, and how you can do the value addition to their need is important. And last thing that I would like to say, at a global scale, domestic scale, doesn't matter, maintaining the relations. Majority of entrepreneurs fail because they're not able to maintain relations with different stakeholders, be it your team members, or your vendors, or your auditors, or your contractors. So whether or not you are working with somebody or not, you should always be able to maintain relationships on an ongoing basis. Never part on a bitter note. And even if there's a parting on a bitter note, still ensure that relationships stay on a smooth side. These are some of the areas which I would advise for entrepreneurs going on a global scale. Okay, so a very interesting, not interesting, is a very sad situation that's currently, and very unexpected situation that's currently enveloped the world, is really speaking, this Ukraine and Russia conflict and the war, ensuing war. So it has clearly it's brought in very different dimensions to the mobility part. Uh, uh, Before we move forward into the reaction from the current situation, we must first of all go into why immigration is required. Immigration is mostly required. Majority of these EU countries, which are doing well, be it Germany, France, or Italy, or Spain. So all these countries have major demographic deficits. That means they have more people aging than the young people who are joining the workforce. So they had those challenges. Where this and it's just very sad that it took a war to fill up this deficit. But when you say 2.5 or 3 million people have moved out as refugees, that's actually speaking, if you look at it, try to look behind look at the fact that they are leaving their families behind. Maybe the male between, if I'm not wrong, certain males between certain age were not permitted to move out of Ukraine, and they are fighting this war. So once this war is over, even they will join their families. So this number could reach very sadly 4 to 5 million people. Now, where are they going to be? So in terms of the impact on immigration, what is going to happen is that the EU member countries are going to be beneficiary, actually speaking, are going to be sudden and unexpected beneficiary of this particular movement. And they would like to, in due course, retain this particular movement, because the way we see the damage that's happening across the country, it's not clear whether even those who have moved out may be willing to move back to the country very soon. So I would put it this way: for the EU as a whole, I think this is a very tragically it happened because of a tragic event. But in terms of immigration, and for EU to address their demographic deficit, this is going to be a positive addition to their workforce. Not now only. Keep in mind, see, demographics always move not only with the ones who are joining the workforce now. Demographics is always a long-term planning. So you have these families moving with kids. So these kids, after 10 to 12, 15 years, once they grow, they'll also join the workforce of these countries. So it has a very long-term impact in terms of demographics for all these EU member countries who are right now accepting them as refugees. That's one, and that's it's very tragic that it happens because of this unfortunate war. And second is this, that in terms of countries globally, otherwise, Canada, USA, Australia, they will have a limited inflow of these the citizens from Ukraine, but still they will have limited inflow. But that limited inflow, considering the population that they have, will also make significant impact. So for one area where it's not going to impact in any way, in fact, more and more these countries are going to need is investors and businessmen who will, actually speaking, go there and settle down. As it doesn't matter whether it's EU country or not a North American country or a Pacific country, all of them, because there's a lot of cost that goes into supporting the refugees. So there's a lot of cost that goes into providing them jobs and opportunities. So to support all that expense, they definitely will need HNIs and entrepreneurs and investors who can go and invest in their economies, and the startups who can go with new technology ideas and create employment opportunities. So I see two diverse areas happening. The skilled professionals will continue to be in upswing. The trades people who are otherwise getting more opportunities from countries like India and Philippines, they may face a little bit of competition from this movement that's happening, because majority of these Ukrainians, they are excellent, very good in trades. They're very good in trades, of different kinds. But as far as high-end skilled professionals are concerned, because they do have language issue, so they are not as good in English language as Indians are. So all the major countries which are accepting immigrants are mostly English-speaking countries. So they might not be able to replace this the unfortunate refugees, as we call them. Nobody should be a refugee ever in one's life. Uh, so they will not be able to replace the requirements of all these English-speaking countries, be it UK, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, USA, Ireland, Malta. It doesn't matter which country you talk about. They will not be able to replace the skilled professionals that form the bulk of immigrants out of India, because they are good in English speaking. And definitely they're not going to replace the entrepreneurs, HNIs, and startups that are moving out of India to any of these countries.
We would love to hear your views about us. AnyTechTrial.com.
Well, it's been a pleasure. My name is Ajay Sharma, as you know, and I'm a global mobility expert. Outside of this, I've also been into other areas, be it events or be it education. And with all this, being a member on the management committee of a reputed chambers like PhD. Well, with all this background, your Notable Talks is a fantastic feature. It's my pleasure to be on AnyTechTrial.com, and your world's #1 SaaS marketplace. And I wish you good luck. And I see a lot of initiative being taken by your platform to reach out and to educate, and also provide a platform which can be used by applications and users, stakeholders of all kinds, for all their needs when it comes to SaaS-based applications.
So this is the most interesting part of our conversation. It's a game. That is a rapid fire round. So you can't take much time and you have to be really quick with the answers. So let's get started. One word that comes to your mind about automation.
Digital.
People.
Young.
Holidays.
Whole world.
Which is your favorite book?
Oh, it is Straight from the Gut by Jack Welch.
Your favorite OTT platform?
Uh, I I wouldn't know whether, okay, you need to one word, then I'll call it YouTube.
One thing you wish you knew earlier in life?
Mobile.
Your favorite collaboration application?
uh, LinkedIn.
One social cause you would like to work on more in the future?
I've been working all my life on street children.
That was quite interesting. Thank you. And we have the last question for our session here. Well, I really enjoyed this session and I hope you did as well.
Oh, it was a pleasure, and look forward to be on the session again, one of the sessions again.
Thank you, Mr. Sharma, for sharing such insightful information with us. And thank you, everyone, for joining with us in this episode of Notable Talks by AnyTechTrial.com. Hope you enjoyed it and looking forward to meet you at the new episode soon. Till then, stay connected with us at our social media channels and AnyTechTrial.com. This is your host, Simran Singh, signing off. Take care and stay safe.